Here I have the content for a table. Notice that this begins with a heading like we've done before, so I can make this a heading 2 and get rid of the note at the end and end it with a closing heading 2. But now I get to this part that's supposed to be a table, and we need to find out how we use HTML to add structure to this table. Notice that currently what it looks like is when I refresh this, the heading comes up, but the table is just no spacing, all the data is all just bunched up together. So what we need to do then, there are 4 tags actually, that we need to learn, 4 HTML tags that we need to learn to do a table. The first one we're going to learn is the table tag, and it has an opening version and a closing version. So you want to be able to put the opening table tag before the entire table and the closing table tag at the end. And then I'm going to indent all of the content so I can see where it is. Now the next tag that we use are table row tags. And table row tags are TR, and I'm going to put an open one at the beginning of each row and a closing TR tag at the end of each row. Again, this is something that I'm going to copy and paste. So I put them at the beginning of each of the rows, just like that. And then I'm going to put a closing TR tag at the end of each row. Now we have identified the entire table. That's with those opening and closing table tags. And we've identified each row. So here in this particular table, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows. Now inside each row, we need to identify each individual cell. And there's 8. I forgot the top one, that's the heading. So for each cell, so this one is the very first one, so I'm going to use a TD, that stands for table data. It has an opening tag, and then the closing tag goes right after the data. All right, so there's the opening TD and closing TD around that. Now around the next item, I need an opening TD tag and a closing TD tag. Oops, that's self-finished. Okay, one more time because there are 3 cells in this particular row. So TD, opening, and closing TD tag. All right, so notice how each individual piece of data has been surrounded by opening and closing TD tags. Now again, here's a time that you can copy paste. So I can just go copy that very front table data all the way down those rows. And then these closing and open again, it goes between the next 2 pieces of table data. So that closes the first cell and starts the second one. And then that goes there. Then this one that closes the second cell and opens the third one. Notice that this just requires a lot of HTML tags, and there's just no way around that. There's a lot of structure in a table. And then I need to close each of those last TD tags. All right, and notice how the TR is on the very outside, right? All the TDs go inside the TR tags. Now I've done all of them except this top one. And this top one, I want it to be a header at the top of the table, so it's part of the table. So these are different cells that are part of the table, but I want them to be a heading at the top. So instead of using TD tags, I'm going to use TH tags, which stands for table header. And again, they need to be closed. And then open another one for the next one. And closed. Oops, I got that in the wrong place. Let me move that over. Plant group is to be together. All right, that's the heading of that one column. And then start the pH of soil is the next one. So after that, I'm going to close it. The TH, and then the next one is average growth. So I'm going to put an opening TH in front of it and a closing. Notice how that's just wrapping around. That's what my editor does. I've got it set on word wrap. So when it gets to the end, it just wraps around instead of scroll over. Okay, so now notice that I've surrounded everything with either a TH or a TD tag. Let's go ahead and save it and see what it looks like now inside the browser. And there, now I have a table. Notice the difference between the TD and TH. So TDs are regular font and left justified. THs are bolded and they're centered across the column. Also notice that the columns are just big enough for the data. So as far as changing the width of the columns or the height of each row, those are things that we can do once we start using style. But for now, we don't get any sizing, no width or height for when you do a table. Also notice that there are no borders. So we commonly think of tables with borders, but that doesn't come by default. Again, that's something that we can add with style. So this is what you get with a table without any style. Now you can put other things besides, you can make tables of other things besides just words and numbers. This one we just did, it has just words and numbers in it. But here's a table that I want to do that has images. So notice that I want a row of 3 images and a second row of 3 images, a third row of 3 images, and 4. So I've got 4 rows, and on each row I have 3 images. Now so far on this page, if we look at it just the way it is, I've just got a whole bunch of images, right? And they kind of move around based on how big the page is. So they just move, right? And as I resize the page, they just move all over. So I want them to be in a table. And again, I'm going to do the same things. I'm going to put the opening table and the closing table tags, right? The opening, and then clear at the end of the table, I'm going to put the closing table tag. I'm going to indent everything so it's very clear to me where they are. So I'm going to indent there. And now I'm going to do the table rows. And notice that the table row, and you can even do this so that when it's this big of data, it might be easier to do it like this so you can really see where the row begins and where it ends. I need 4 of these, so there's 1, 2, I guess I can leave that space in there, that won't matter. And then I want it to end. There's the end of the table row. And I do another beginning, and then I want that row to end. And another beginning. And I want that row to end. So each row needs to have a beginning TR tag and an ending TR tag. Now for each data item, I don't have any headers on this particular table, so these are all going to be contained in TD tags. And I'm going to put an opening TD tag at the beginning of the image tag and a closing one after. So here we go. I'm just going to copy paste, and I'm going to put opening TD in front of each image, all the way down, all 12 of them. And so what you can put, here I'm using images, in the last one I use numbers and words. You can put anything you want in these tables. Now the structure is exactly the same in the HTML. Now I'm going to do the closing TD tags at the end of each image. And I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to come over here and refresh. And now what I get is 4 rows. And on each row there are 3 images. There's the first row. There's the second row with 3 images. There's the third row. And the fourth row with 3 images. Now, it will look much nicer once I get a border around these and the images all the same size. Those are things we'll do when we get to style.